Brilliant. Well, Nina Samuels, welcome to the Grapple Theory podcast. Finally on the show. We've been wanting to get you on for a while, so I'm delighted that you're finally here.
Finally, worth the wait.
Yeah, exactly. Always worth the wait, right? For the Nina Samuels show.
Yes.
You stay up till whatever time for that.
Yes, for sure.
Love it. Well, delighted to have you here. We've been asking everyone, because this is going to be our first podcast of 2023. So a little bit of history for yourself there. But we've been asking everyone really about their last year. Obviously 2022 was sort of the first full year of wrestling back here in the UK after the pandemic. It's fair to say it was probably a bit of a hectic one for yourself. And we don't sort of touch on things like NXT and things like that too much here because we keep it indies. But for yourself, returning to the indies fully this year, how has that been as an experience after going through so much with NXT UK, coming back to the indies permanently? How has that been?
It's been so much fun. I kind of started dipping my toe in the water again, when was it? December 2021?
Yeah, it was Eve's shows, wasn't it? You were on dark shows and stuff.
Yes. So yeah, I sort of dipped my toe back in, but being fully immersed in it, it's great. Because obviously the fact that we were dark meant I couldn't get involved fully in storylines, things like that. I just had to be the odd one-off match here and there. But yeah, it's been great fun. I'm having an absolute blast. Love being busy, love traveling again. Yeah, I love it. I
mean, we'll get onto all of that. I mean, the thing I'm most interested to know is coming back, because obviously there was, when NXT UK shut, there was a lot of debate around the fact of where people who were returning would sort of slot in on cards and things like that, because there'd been a lot of wrestlers who sort of made a name for themselves with the fact that a lot of the bigger names had gone to NXT UK. So I want to know, were there any apprehension in coming back in terms of how you might be received, in terms of from some of the indie crowds who are very indie and very sort of stick to their promotion?
Not really. I mean, I think because I felt like I never really left those shows. I mean, Eve especially was one where even when I couldn't be on the shows, I would still come to the shows and support the shows as much as I could and come whenever I was available. Same with Progress shows. I'd attended a lot of Progress shows as well. So, I mean, from a locker room perspective, I still felt like I was still in touch with everyone. So coming back to the indies, I mean, there haven't been a lot of the shows that I've been coming back to were shows that I was doing before anyway. So Rise I used to do regularly, Eve, Progress. I mean, it's also been great debuting places I hadn't done, Fight Factory, going over to Europe, Slam Wrestling Finland, going to Japan, places like that. But no, I wasn't really that apprehensive. I think because I knew that I had a fan base on the independents before anyway, and I knew personally the development that I'd done while I was with NXT UK. So I felt confident that I could still bring the fans something, make them love me, make them hate me, whatever they want. But I felt confident that I could get a reaction when I came back, at least.
Yeah, for sure. And it must be nice to sort of come back and we'll talk about debuts now, because you mentioned debuts. It didn't take you long to get a bit of gold around the waist, did it, at Riot Cabaret?
Yeah, so weirdly enough, the Riot Cabaret show was actually already planned. It was a date that I had approved with WWE.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the timing of it, with winning the title, what was that, 5 days after the release, definitely felt good, and it felt like a nice statement, I'm back, bitches,
Yeah, and fating someone like Harley Hudson as well, who's just had a ridiculously good year, really made a name for herself. That's what I was sort of get onto, because the fact you've come back, but there's so many sort of new matches for you to have because of these people who have risen up the ranks.
Yeah, it feels so fresh compared to when I was on the independents before. Because even if you think back in 2020, towards the end of 2019, you still had people like Kaylee Ray, Viper, Ginny, Tony Storm wrestling on the independents. So now it seems like a completely different scene. So it's really exciting, because even though there's still some of the same names that were there before, Charlie Morgan's, Jetta's, Rhea Riley's, there's all these fresh names as well. So it's kind of coming back onto a new scene, and I'm really enjoying working with all the fresh talent that have really made a name for themselves while I was away.
Yeah, absolutely. Sort of get back in, almost thrown back in at the deep end, right? Because you're these are the people I've now got to sort of prove myself to and sort of keep up with. And they're really good, some of them. They just some of the people who are rising through, like the Lizzie Evos, the Alexis Falcons, the Harley Hudsons, like really made a name for themselves, I feel like, in the last year.
Yeah, for sure. That's amazing talent. I mean, I was keeping an eye on everything while we were at NXT UK anyway, even though we weren't allowed to work the indies. So I already knew of a lot of these girls, by the time I was coming back. So I'd done some scouting, things like that.
Always doing your homework. Always doing the homework.
Always doing the homework. Yeah, it's been amazing getting in the ring with these girls I've never got in the ring before with, and I'm having such fun having all these matchups.
Yeah, I mean, talk to me about your match with Lizzie at Queendom, because that was, I mean, Queendom was a stacked show, but like that was genuinely like one of my matches of the night, because it was just so brilliant. I like it, the weird sort of like heel dynamic you guys had as well was absolutely brilliant. It just seemed like such a great match. Like, what was it like working with her in that show?
Oh, so much fun. Like, Lizzie's incredible. I mean, we've done the odd bits of training together at the Performance Centre before, but never like properly had a match before. So yeah, that was really, really fun. Because I think she's someone especially who, I mean, she was obviously doing great before that, but since COVID, I think she's really elevated her status and become one of the top names on the scene.
Yeah.
So it was great working with her. And as I say, like, yeah, technically heel, whatever, but for me, I just see it as we're two big characters, like two big characters that would clash, and we did clash.
Oh, it was great. The shouting at each other, it was just fantastic.
Yeah, it was a really fun dynamic playing off of her, and I hope it's not the last time that I wrestle.
Well, no, you need a bit of revenge, don't you? Because obviously, you were a bit shady, tried to cheat your way to win, but then she got you back and cheated to win herself.
Yeah, I tell you, Oscar Harding, like, man is on my list. As well as Lizzie. I
mean, yeah, it was a pretty obvious one to miss, to be fair. I'll give it to Lizzie, she's brilliant, but that was not a subtle rope grab at all.
No, so I definitely feel like I need to get my revenge there. I don't know when, but yeah, I feel like we need to have that match up again.
It'll come in time, I'm sure. We need to see it again. We deserve to see it again.
Yes.
But talking about Eve, delighted to have you on here ahead of Eve's 100th show. Someone who's an Eve veteran, let's say. Been there, I think you debuted, 2017 or something? 2016, 2017?
Yeah, 2017.
Yeah, which is, I mean, it's weird to think that's 5 years ago now. It still feels like it was like 2 years ago, because the pandemic's just wiped 3 years from like everyone's mind. But talk to me about sort of like how Eve sort of has changed in that time, obviously, as someone who's seen that progress for it throughout that time. Because it seems like well, obviously it's grown. It seems like it's become that sort of staple women's promotion in wrestling as well. But like, it seems crazy that they've done 100 shows. It seems like crazy that we're sitting here talking about 100 shows that they've put on.
Yeah, well, I mean, I remember the first time that I ever wrestled for Eve was back when they were doing the double shows, so the double headers at the Resgal. So we were pumping them through there, and there were the She Ones and everything as well. But I mean, Eve has been, I can't overstate the importance of Eve in my career, because I think even though I was getting about and wrestling in various places then, I think Eve was the promotion that really put me on the map. I mean, certainly even like speaking on the microphone, I was, acting background aside, I was not that confident speaking on the microphone before Eve. And Eve gave me a platform, gave me the microphone every single show. Sometimes I had an idea what I was going to say. Sometimes I found out when I got in the ring that they wanted me to speak, so just had to think of something. But yeah, I feel like that's where I honed the majority of my microphone skills there. And also match-wise as well, like I got a chance to work with incredible talent there, like amazing performers. I mean, my first match at Eve, I was tagging with Meiko Satomura and Shana against Nixon Newell, Emi Sakura, and Erin Angel. In the main event of the show. So.
Yeah, again thrown in at the deep end.
Yeah, for sure. But I loved it. It was intimidating at first, but it was a real like start as a means to go on moment for me. So yeah, Eve has been incredible, and it's great as well because I think Eve, it's not just about a show, it's about a family, it's about development. Dan would constantly tell us things that he thought we need to see from our character, or whoever we're up against in the ring or in a story, this is what I want to see from this person's character. And it all felt like it was us all developing together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I think is what's helped elevate all the wrestlers involved in Eve so well.
Oh, for sure. That's something that, like, we've heard a lot of from about Dan, in the fact that you mentioned, like, that first match you had, but, you know, in speaking to Charlie Morgan and to Ava White and to Jetta as well, like, Dan's the person that sort of will throw you in at the deep end, like, sort of like, prove yourself, show that you're good enough to be here. And then once you've done it, he's like he sort of takes you like that. Once you can prove yourself, like he'll give you the bookings because you've proven yourself in that match.
Yeah, definitely. And there's been things he suggested to me that I haven't agreed with. Some of them after the match still not agreed with, but some of them I'm like, wow, fair play. I wouldn't have done it like that, but he was right about that. So, but then it's part of an ongoing discussion. You know, if he's suggested something I haven't agreed with, we have a discussion about it, and you know, we evolve from that. And it's nice being somewhere where I feel like I have that voice, and I feel like I can be listened to. I can pitch ideas. It's helpful in so many ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to me about Dan, because again, I think Charlie said that exact same thing as well, where the fact that you know, she's disagreed with him on loads of decisions, and like she's had to sort of begrudgingly afterwards go back and be like, okay, right, you got that one right, that was a good decision. But he seems like the kind of guy who's like so invested in like who you are, not just for Eve, but like who you are as a wrestler and as a person, in terms of wanting you to improve and get out there and do more. Because it's the case that I think for him, which is really cool to see, it's like, if you guys are succeeding beyond Eve, that helps Eve just as much anyway. And like that's like a really cool thing to see, that like he's wanting you to develop beyond what he's doing in his own promotion. Yeah,
for sure, because it means like things that he suggests you can try them out elsewhere beyond Eve as well. I mean, I feel like my strength and my power is a big part of, you know, my wrestling style. And I remember it was one of my, I think only my third match at Eve, and I had a match against Viper. And he said, I really want you to put across how strong you are. And I'm thinking, against Viper? Really? Like, that's not the person, you know? Like, I need to sell how strong she is. And that was something that I didn't really agree with. And I thought, especially, you know, as a heel, I was like, no, I need to make her look good. But I sort of went with the advice, and we still put over her strength. But I had a few moments in there showing that, and the reaction from the crowd was great. And I feel like, you know, I remember I was getting a "This is awesome" moment, and at the time, that early into my career, I wasn't necessarily used to getting those outside of my sort of home promotion at the time, Lucha Britannia, where I knew how to get that response from the audience there.
Yeah.
So it felt like a moment of like, okay, I feel like I'm getting somewhere now with this. So, and then it made me think, okay, well, let's lean into my strength a bit more, because, you know, like I say, I'd come from a lucha environment before, where I was mainly working with guys, so I was, you know, using more of a high flying style, whereas then getting in there wrestling with other women more, I sort of realized, okay, let's play up to this, let's use my strength. And, you know, it was a kind of turning point of, let's try out something different stylistically.
Yeah, and that sort of thing, because I was going to bring that up, because like you say, that sort of like lucha upbringing, and then working even like sort of becoming more of that, not necessarily mat wrestler, but that sort of like more powerhouse wrestler. It seems like it's given you this very like really like varied ability in the ring, like where you sort of can do it all, and that's really cool as well, in the fact that you've sort of learn all these different things where you can go off the top rope if you want, but you can also, like, you know, give someone a ridiculous clothesline if you want to as well, to like show your power.
Yeah, I think it's good being able to tap into different styles. But I mean, it makes sense, you know, if I'm going in there with an opponent who's much smaller than me, I am going to be resorting to the power game. Whereas if I'm going in there with a size disadvantage, I can pull back from you know the lucha skills that I had. So it's nice having both, and it means, I think it gives me a better understanding of other wrestlers when I'm in the ring as well, because I have had that variation of styles that I've sort of grown up with.
Yeah, for sure. So talking to me about Eve, obviously we're talking about 100 shows. Obviously you've not been on every one of the 100, but I'm going to ask you about sort of like two sort of specific things from your point of view, specifically Eve-wise. Talk to me about, first of all, I'd like to know your favourite match at Eve, specifically at Eve. And then also your favourite Eve show. It doesn't have to be one you've been on. It can be one you've been on but not even in the main event or anything. But like a show that's really blown you away from Eve, where you were like, you know, the crowd's on it, the wrestling's on it, all that sort of thing. What would those two be?
Do you know what? I feel like the majority of my favourite matches I've ever had have been at Eve, so it's a tough one. I think I'm probably going to have to go back to Wrestle Queendom 3 when I had my singles match with Ginny. Because, you know, she's one of my best friends and we had trained together a lot, but I feel like that also meant that we had a great chemistry for that. And I remember we opened the show because at that time we couldn't be on the live stream. So Dan said, "Oh, just treat it like you're doing a main event," and we did. And again, like, because, you know, Ginny's typically a heel, but again, you know, we could just get by on the fact that we're both strong characters. And I just remember the crowd felt great. The story that we'd told felt great. We hadn't had a massive amount of time to build it up, but we'd told a good story in that time. And it's one match, I feel like a lot of wrestlers have a thing where they watch themselves back and they're like, I hate it. But that's one match where I watch back and for the most part, I'm like, yeah, I'm really happy with that. So I think that's probably my favourite. But it is tough because
there's a lot.
There's so many matches at Eve that I've really loved. In terms of a show, for me, it's got to be the first Queendom. I just remember feeling like it was a huge moment for us all as a roster because it felt like it was a big moment and it was a big, like, historical moment. Because I think at the time it was like the largest women's wrestling show outside of Japan, possibly, I can't remember the statistics specifically, but I remember it was a big deal. And yeah, just being in there, even during like the sound checks, just going in, soaking up the atmosphere, because I had wrestled at York Hall before with Lucha Libre World, but that was sort of, we were a guest as part of their show, whereas this felt like something that we'd all built together. So yeah, and that has to be it for me. And I remember I watched quite a lot of the show as well, so I went out into the crowd to watch Kaylee versus Mako, Viper versus Aja Kong, and Sammy versus Charlie. And I just remember the atmosphere was just insane, and it felt like a really proud moment for us as a roster, and as individuals as well for being part of it. So that's got to be number one for me.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, some brilliant, and like hopefully 100 more shows to come, right, and more, because they're doing great work. I mean, like, Dan's done a fantastic job there, and like it's just brilliant to see like companies that have had that longevity, right? It seems like there's unfortunately like so many, you know, promotions in the indies that can sort of rise and fall quite quickly, but it's really like rare to have that longevity, I think.
Yeah, I feel like ever since Eve had its comeback, you know, which was around 2016, I think, I feel like it's been on a constant, aside from COVID, it's been on a constant high bar. Yeah. Like, the shows never disappoint. And yeah, sometimes there'll be more people there than others, but I feel like it's maintained its position as one of the top promotions in the UK for that whole time. Oh, for sure. One in the UK, probably one in Europe as well. Yeah, I think so. Like, yeah, they've just had some phenomenal times. Well, yeah, I mean, hopefully I'm sure it'll be a great show. This is going to go out just before it, so like that'll be good. And like, hopefully, good luck to everyone there for 100 shows. And many more to come. I want to get back to Riot Cabaret, because we spoke about it earlier, winning the belt. How did that feel as a promotion? Because I've heard really, like, I've not had a chance to get there yet, and I'm hoping to get there for the January show. You know, I'm sure you're on the show, aren't you? You're going to be on the show. Yes, I am. I've got a championship match against current number one contender Lily Grace. Yeah, that'll be a good one. That'll be another sort of like powerhouse match, I think. Yeah, Jimmy, it's wild because me and Livy have been both in the industry for over 8 years and I've never had a match, ever. Really? Never. That's crazy. I think it was Livy in the first ladder match at Queendom? No, I'm not sure. I think she was, but there wasn't really much interaction, but definitely never had a singles match ever. We were supposed to in Austria recently, but then due to certain injuries, the card got moved around. So, yeah.
That's wild.
Doing it for the first time.
That must be quite cool as well, because we talked about sort of like the new blood coming through, but it must be cool to, again, have someone who's been on the industry with you for that long, but you've never faced, and finally have that match as well.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, but yeah, definitely make it down, because the atmosphere at Riot Cabaret is just something else. Like,
I've heard that.
The fan base is sort of a mix. I think, there's a lot of casual fans there, and it's always fun having casual fans in the audience, because you can just play things a bit differently, and even the way they have like the Cabaret Carnage matches and things like that, like. There's a big variety on the show. Like, you have your serious, hard-hitting matches, then you have your more entertainment-style matches, and stacked cards as well. Like, there's incredible talent on those shows, and the venue is beautiful. Like, I remember, because with it being, so it was my second indie show back after NXT UK, and I remember feeling like I was almost being spoiled and lured into like a false sense of
like, this is too good. What's happening here? Like.
Yeah, like they're so professional to work with, and yeah, the venue's beautiful. Everything looks great. So yeah, definitely make it down, because I feel like, I've been there since the second show onwards, but I feel like they're really going to be something special. They already are something special, but I can just see them going up and up and up.
Yeah, they're already making a name for themselves. Like you said, I think it's been 2 or 3 shows or something at this point, and like they're already making a name for themselves.
Yeah, only 3 shows in so far. January will be the 4th one. So, yeah, just get involved now.
Yeah, anyone else watching this as well who wants to make it down to the Clapham Ground. Clapham Ground as well, you mentioned it as well. Beautiful venue.
Gorgeous venue, right by the tube station as well. Always handy. And they have me as their champ. So,
and that's what you want, right?
That's the level of show that we have.
The Nina Samuel show is the reason to get the ticket, and everything else is just like gravy, right? Everything else is just the bonus.
Yeah, come for the Nina Samuel show, stay for everything.
Yeah. Love it, and that's brilliant, and that's cool to see as well in terms of, I want to get your opinion on this, because earlier today for our Christmas episode where we spoke to Tommy Kyle, and he was talking about how, we mentioned promotions that he wrestles at a lot, like Good and Resurgence, who've been around a while, and they're sort of as well known for their variety shows in what they put on. It's not just wrestling. But he said, and as someone who's been around for a while as well, I'm interested to get your thoughts. He said that it seems like, particularly post-pandemic, that sort of variety style of wrestling has really been coming to the forefront. Whereas I think, especially at the height, say 2019, it was very much like British strong style, those hard-hitting, proper classic wrestling matches that were really drawing the crowds. But now it seems like variety wrestling is becoming the in thing at the minute.
I think it always has been, though. I think it just depends where you look for it. I guess I'm a bit biased because I started at Lucha Britannia, which was variety central.
Great variety show.
But then I think even if you look back at other matches, there's always been that element. Even Progress shows and things like that. What was it? I think Progress recently posted something from Unboxing where it was an 8-man tag match, but everyone's tag partners were on the opposite side. So I think they have had matches like that for a while, and I think there's always a place for them. I think variety is the key, right? You just gotta know your audience, know what your audience likes, give them a mix. No one wants to come to a show and see every match be 10-minute serious hard-hitting match. I guess if that's what you're into, that's what you're into, but I think it's important promotions knowing their fan base, knowing what their fan base wants, and just there being options out there for fans, because not all fans like the same thing. So I think it's important just making sure that there's something out there for everyone. But yeah, I love me some variety. All about the entertainment.
Always a bit of fun, isn't it? Spice of life, isn't it? That's what they say.
Exactly.
And talking about variety, obviously a very different style of wrestling. You just went out to Japan recently. Talk to us about that. How was that whole experience?
Oh, incredible. One of the best times of my life. It was everything that I hoped it would be. Japan's somewhere that I've wanted to go for so long, but you know, before WWE I was working a full-time job, so I couldn't quite make the commitment that various companies needed. So I think as soon as the releases happened, I was like, oh, at least I can go to Japan now. That was like straight away on my brain. It was so good. Like there's definitely very different things stylistically. They love their chops out there. I hate chops. I hate them. I'm like, okay, just give me one good one if you have to, but no, there's like just
chop central, isn't it? Like multiple.
Chop central. Even like I tried changing to wear my high neck gear. I was like, right, that'll be fine. Like it won't hurt as much. But because there's all the rhinestones on it, I feel like it hurt more because it's just like
just backfired. Yeah.
The style was very different, but it was so much fun. Like I feel like everyone's louder there, so you just like feed off it, and I felt like my volume was going up to another level. I was just screaming like non-stop. And it's like it's about more than just the wrestling, isn't it? Because like it's such a different world out there. Like you experience just like living day to day is just such a different experience. Yeah, so different. I mean, even like everyone's wearing masks everywhere. Even walking around outside on your own. Yeah. Like even in the height of lockdown, people in the UK weren't doing that. But like the respect level there is great as well. Like there's learning about the culture and the way they have their training, things like that. It was incredible, and like, you know, we got looked after so well when we were there, and it was an amazing learning experience. It was an amazing life experience. You know, it was a nice amount of time. I think I was there 2.5 weeks and did like 5 matches in that time. So it was a nice amount for my first tour, because it was a nice balance of getting in enough shows, but also having time to sightsee and soak everything up, eat way too many Japanese cakes. Cakes. The cakes. Incredible. When we got there, Mako told us about the various different convenience stores that they have there, and I should try the cakes they have, and I took that to heart. I think me and Millie didn't walk past a single shop without going in and buying some kind of cake. So yeah, I think next time I need to curb that a bit. But yeah, I had such an amazing experience, wrestling wise and life wise.
That's the weird thing about Japan, right? The thing I find that, I mean, there's a lot of different things about Japan, but the thing I find the weirdest is that convenience store food there is really top tier. Whereas if someone said to you here, oh, go and get like a sandwich from the convenience store, you'd be like, no, I don't trust that. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, right. Like you're coming here and it's like a chicken tikka sandwich, but the chicken will be the weirdest. Yeah. Peach. That you're like, no, I'm not trusting that. But their convenience stores are great, and they've got like all got hot food counters. Like, unreal. The food there was incredible.
Please tell me you went like vending machine hunting as well, like, because that's the thing over there, isn't it?
There's vending machines everywhere. Like, and you can get hot cans of coffee. Like, I like drinking cold coffee, so like, well, not in this weather, but out there I like cold cans. But I try a bit of Millie's, and I'm like, just drinking a hot can is so weird. Just vending machines in the streets everywhere. I love that. Need it here in the UK.
Yeah, and as a first tour, I mean, it must have been nice to go over with Millie as well, in terms of, I mean, kayfabe obviously not, because like that's, you know, don't want to be seen with her kayfabe wise, but in reality it must have been nice as well, in like someone who, like, you know, you can sort of like, I guess someone you already know and can connect with out there without having to worry about any sort of like language barrier or cultural barrier, and like you can experience it sort of together.
Yeah, it was really nice having Millie there. I mean, obviously she's a terrible human, but it was really fun, especially because she's been out there a few times before, so there was that familiarity there for her, but also, yeah, for me, being out there with someone that I am friends with, and meeting Lena Cross as well out there was great as well. Like, we'd never met before, but got on great with her. So it was, socially wise, it was great as well. And the other wrestlers out there, some of them I've met before, some of them meeting for the first time. But yeah, just had so much fun, like embracing everything, going to karaoke rooms and all that. So it was a lot of
What's your karaoke song? What'd you go for?
Well, we did a couple of trios.
Nice.
We did, Spice Up Your Life.
Love it.
We did Sweet Child of Mine.
Classic.
That used to be a favourite one of mine solo, but you know, I decided, okay,
you could share it. You could share the spotlight for once.
Trio. But yeah, that was very fun. Being like the little room with the disco lights, the maracas, the tambourines. That was very fun.
Yeah, we need that. We need that. That's what you can bring. Like maybe like not necessarily next show, but in a show at Eve, we got to have Nina Samuels soloing "Sweet Child of Mine." Like that's your promo. That's the promo that you cut in the ring. You just start singing.
I don't know. I feel like that needs a whole different like ticket level. You know, like I can't just give that away.
Not like the VIP, the above VIP.
Yeah, I feel like we need to charge more for that.
Like that's the thing. After the VIP, those extra people stay on, and then you do that after.
Yeah, I don't know if the Eve fans have that level of VVIP in them, to be honest.
No, they don't, do they? To be fair, you've seen a bunch of them. They're all
No, I don't think so. But I mean, who knows? Maybe like Riot Cabaret have their Cabaret Carnage matches. So maybe that's going to be the place for it. Maybe
you can be like,
a bit more.
Yeah, you can do like what they had. They had their in the first show, didn't they? They had like the Jukebox Rumble. You can do like a Macchiato. You can like have that as your entrance and come out singing it.
Yeah, that could work. Thoughts.
Yeah, there you go. Always coming up with ideas. Love it. And again, like, you know, with Millie, obviously we've spoken about Millie, you know, horrible person, like always trying to steal the spotlight from Nina Samuels. Don't like her. No, not at all. But I mean, in terms of like, we talk about returning NXT UK wrestlers, she looks like she's really hit the ground running. And I don't know about you, but like, she just makes me feel old, like, because she's still so young and she's done so, like you said, like she's already been on like loads of tours of Japan and she's like still so young.
When she was 17
or
something like that.
It just makes me feel old because you're just like, how have you done so much already and you're so good? Like, I mean, I don't know if like, you know, if it's the same for you, like facing her in the ring and things like that. Like, do you get that vibe? Like, if you're like, where it's like, how are you done this much? Like, how are you doing this?
Yes and no. Like, yes, it's sickening. Like, anytime I see someone that's really young doing like Rhea Ripley is like a ridiculous.
Yeah.
But like, to be honest, if I'm in the ring with Millie, like she's just so much fun to work with that I'm just like, I'm always happy to be in the ring with her and I can just forget her age for that moment and enjoy the experience of having a match with her.
Yeah.
And then remind myself about it afterwards and be like, ugh.
Oh, how could I?
Yes.
Well, we've got a few more Eve things to talk about because, again, like mentioned sort of beforehand, the reason we wanted to get you on is because Jetta and Charlie as well, and everyone Eve-wise who we've had on has raved about the fact that you bring in like cakes and cookies backstage, and apparently they're the greatest thing. That's the reason people show up to Eve. Apparently, like that's why they take the bookings, is for this.
Yeah, I am fantastic. If we're going to be humble about it, you know.
So when did this start? What was the start of this?
Sure, I've always loved baking, like ever since, because my mum baked a lot of cakes when I was younger.
Right.
She baked a cake for every birthday that I had, my brothers, and she did a lot of like cake modelling as well. So she was always very artsy with things like that. So I grew up helping her, but it hadn't been something that I'd done sort of living not at home. Because, you know, there's whole extra kit you have to buy and all that.
You got to do the washing up afterwards and...
Yeah. So, but lockdown, I was like, okay, now's the time. Like, I need to fill my time with something. And it just became a hobby that I really enjoyed. I slowly started investing in more kit, trying different recipes. So yeah, lockdown was where it all kicked off, really. But obviously, lockdown, I had to eat them all myself, or you know, share them with my partner. But it became very difficult trying to maintain the fitness level while making the cakes as well. So it just then became a thing where as soon as any kind of social occasion started, I would just bring cakes and bring baking because I was like, yes, people to pass the calories on to.
And who needs it more than wrestlers, right? You need the calories to burn off, right?
Yeah, right. And I needed to take the calorific pressure away from myself, to be honest, because it was getting dangerous. So yeah, it just became a thing of like, anytime I saw people, like bring cakes, that was like friends, family. And then eventually when shows started happening again, I think as well because I always posted my baking on my Instagram stories, so people would reply like, oh, I need to try this. And yeah, Charlie Morgan and Jetta, I would meet up with them sometimes when it was allowed to start training and things, especially when... So I knew about Charlie's return quite a while before others did. So
you were in on the secret before?
Yeah, I was in on the secret. I can't remember. I might have been there for her first training session after she had decided she possibly wanted to come back.
Nice.
To test the waters with her. I think it might have been her first one. So yeah, I'd been in on it for a while. So they were two of the first people that I would meet up with once it was safe to meet up. So I would be, taking them bits and pieces. So yeah, when shows came back, I was like, well, here we go. Let's bring some baking. It's just something to do. And same even when we had tapings or a training camp, I'd bring a load on the first day. And then it starts becoming that bit of a burden because there's the expectation there. And I'll have to remember, right, what did I bake for this show the last time? Let's try and bake something different this time. But I enjoy it, and sometimes if I've got a busy week, it can be hard organising things, but luckily I try and leave some space in my freezer so that I can batch bake some things, so I've got something in the freezer to take if I'm going to a show in this place and don't have time to bake anything right before it. But yeah, I really enjoy baking, and I enjoy not having the burden of eating it all myself.
That's always the bad thing, isn't it? Like when you bake something and you're on your own, or there's only two of you and you've got a whole pan there and you're like, I'm going to eat all this, but I don't really want to. Yeah.
I mean, I got into the habit of just freezing everything and taking out one thing a day. But yeah, it's fun. I just think it's nice because it kind of brings the locker room together, especially on long show days if people are busy, maybe not having enough time to pop out for food. It means there's something there. Especially Dan just does not eat on show days, so I just force a food.
Come on.
Me. Which I was used to because I used to work in events, and events is very similar. You go for 20 hours straight, and I would always be the feeder on my team. I go and do the star food runs. I just go around and shove smoothies in people's hands, here, eat a sandwich. So yeah, I guess I have that kind of feeder mentality. But yeah.
Are we seeing the start of a new sort of post wrestling career here? Is this going to be the Nina Samuels Bakery or something?
I don't know, because the hard thing is whenever you have a hobby and turn it into a job, it can take the fun out of it.
Yeah.
A bit. I mean, I had that with dancing. I used to be dancing, then I became a professional dancer, and it got less fun. Then even with wrestling, you get a period where it's oh, this is my job now. But I mean, I'm feeling the fun again now, so I'm not feeling that as much. But yeah, I don't know. For now, I enjoy baking as a hobby, but we'll see.
We'll see where it goes.
Maybe. Yeah.
What's your signature in your mind? Because I know Charlie said it was the cookies. I think Alexis Falcon said it was the brownies or something. But what in your mind? What is the thing you make best?
Do you know, I haven't made blondies and brownies for a while actually, because my cookies I can make vegan really easily, so I tended to just make them because it was easier because everyone could eat them.
Yeah.
My salted caramel brownies always used to be a winner.
Oh yeah.
My white chocolate and Biscoff blondies.
Damn, that sounds good.
I did Rolo Stuffed triple chocolate chip cookies.
My God.
Which were pretty fantastic.
I feel like I just got cholesterol by hearing that.
Around Easter as well, cream egg stuffed cookies. They're pretty great as well. Stuffed cookies always have a different level of stress to them, because if you don't have enough dough around them and something leaks out, it's disastrous. So yeah, there's a few things there.
Have you considered, I'm genuinely asking this as a question now, can you bring these to merch? Can you sell these at merch?
I don't know, do I need a food hygiene certificate?
I don't know, that might be something worth asking, because if you don't...
I mean, if I don't, I will happily take the extra bills money.
I tell you what, I think
I need to fuel this heating right now.
Exactly. People are feeling it, but everyone wants sweet treats, right? I'm just saying this now.
I don't want to get sued by anyone if I've not got the appropriate certificate.
No, we'll have to check with someone. But I'm saying now it's worth doing, because I know personally that my wallet would be empty if you were selling cakes at merch, because I'm very partial to a sweet treat, and to have it while watching wrestling, I think it's something that's got to be looked into.
Yeah, maybe if I just get people to sign a waiver and say if I get food poisoning, I will not sue.
Yeah, you're not responsible. Yeah.
Yes.
Or the promotion as well. Put the promotion in there as well, just in case. Just no one gets sued.
Yeah.
I think this has got to be looked into. This could be a game changer here. This could be a game changer.
I think this could be taking merch stores to new levels.
Love it. Well, the Eve content sort of ends here because we bring it onto our new feature. We got a new feature. We did it with Tommy earlier today when we were recording, which was before Christmas for anyone who's watching this when that went out. So you're only the second person to take part in this new feature we've got, and it's called Dishing the Dirt. And so we used to have a feature called Anatomy of a Pro.
Go wrong.
No, well, it can never go wrong, can it? Nothing ever goes wrong. It's fine. This will be absolutely smooth sailing. We used to have a feature called Anatomy of a Pro Wrestler, which was getting to know you. But now, as the title suggests, we're going to have you sort of dish the dirt on your fellow wrestlers. It's nothing too bad. There's not much dirt. It's mainly dishing and less dirt.
You're gonna get me in trouble.
No, you won't get in trouble. It's fine. There's a couple that might get you in trouble, but not bad.
Okay.
Not bad. So I'm going to give you some questions, and you let me know. As we're talking about Eve's 100th show, this is going to be about the Eve locker room. So you tell me which Eve wrestler best applies to each thing. Okay. The first one is, who's the first to arrive?
Probably me.
Yeah? The early bird.
Yeah, I think I'm probably fairly consistently one of, if not the first person there. So yeah, I'm going to go with me.
Nice, easy one to start.
I don't live locally anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't like rushing and I don't like stressing.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm going to go with me.
I like that. Always, I'm the same. I'd always rather be like sort of like 20 minutes early than like 2 minutes late.
I mean, in my personal life, like timekeeping is not my strength. But show day, I like time.
Then it all switches. Yeah. Love it. The next one on the opposite end, it's who's always the last to leave.
The last to leave. Oh god, that might be me as well.
you just there throughout. See everyone out. Yeah.
Yeah. Probably me again.
Oh well, we got to make sure that not every answer is you for this. Who's the next one's who's the comedian of the locker room?
I feel like I'm gonna go with. I mean, obviously, I'm hilarious.
Of course.
I feel like it's got to be Millie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it the dancing? I feel like it would be the dancing.
Well, no, I think I'm well, less so now, but back when we were at the Res Gal, when you were right there to hear people's entrance music, because now you can't hear anything from the locker room. I'd always loved doing a full-on dance routine during everyone's entrance.
Nice. Really put on a show.
Less now, but Millie's just a gremlin, isn't she?
Yeah.
She just, she's very funny to be around.
Love it.
Laughing at and laughing with.
Oh, of course, absolutely, yeah. She brings it all, doesn't she? But like her moves in the ring when anyone's entrance is playing is just fantastic. Like that's the thing that gets you. Like, so that doesn't surprise me, that answer. The next one is who takes the longest to get ready? Is it you again?
God, it might be. Yeah, I feel like it might be me.
What about aside from you? Who's second?
God, I don't know. Maybe because I take so long, I don't really like.
They're all ready. You just
observe how long everyone else. I mean, some people come with like their makeup already done. I just arrive with nothing done and do everything.
I'll just get it done there. It's fine. Yeah, you don't want to be doing it in the car or on the tube or anything, do you? That's the thing. Like.
No, I mean I can do that. Like from years of dance auditions, I had plenty of practice doing a full face of makeup on the tube.
Oh, that takes skill.
Oh yeah, I can still do my makeup on the tube now. And maybe I can't apply a false lash in the tube anymore. I used to be able to do that one-handed.
That's impressive. That's very impressive.
Yeah, but God, no, it's probably me.
Nice. Well, again, I mean, all we're doing is learning more about you here.
Yeah, right. I thought I was thinking someone else do dancing.
Well, okay. Apart from your baked goods, which we've already talked about, who brings the best food? The best like lunch or snacks? The one you'd look at and be like, oh, that looks really good. What they brought.
Does anyone bring snacks?
I don't know. Do people bring food?
I feel like there's just an expectation that I'm going to bring the snack.
And so no one brings food because you've already brought it.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone else is bringing the food, then they're not giving me any.
But no, I mean, in terms of like if someone.
Actually, I need to tell you this about at the Queendom show. I bumped into Dan in Tesco.
Right.
And he was doing a meal deal run for everyone. Which was a first, but I was grateful for it. And I had to intercept because he was there. He was like, "Oh, I'm just going to get a bunch of tuna and prawn sandwiches. That's safe." I was like,
"What?"
Excuse me. I was like, "No, this can't happen. Hold your basket." I just made him stand there with the basket while I put an assortment of sandwiches in there. He was like, "Is tuna not a safe option?" I was like, "No."
Fish is never a safe option. Loads of people don't like fish.
Yeah, I don't eat fish.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
So yeah, I just made him stand there while I loaded various different sandwiches into his basket. But then I put in a turkey and trimmings one for myself.
Who took it?
Put them. Who'd you think?
I don't know. Is it Dan?
No, it wasn't.
Guess I'd say...
It was Jetta.
Oh, it was Jetta.
She didn't know that it was for me, but I looked and it was gone, and I saw it open in her suitcase. So I removed it and replaced it with an egg mayo in her suitcase.
So what we're learning here is that...
I did share half of it with her in the end.
Yeah. She was like, I swear I picked up the turkey one. What happened?
Yeah, she was raging, and she was like asking who the culprit was, and I was pretty much blaming anyone except me.
They were like, no way. She was like, no way Nina would have done it. No, she's trustworthy. She brings the cake, so she wouldn't have taken the sandwich. So what we've learned from that one is that Dan Reed, for all his good work, can't pick out good meal deals.
No.
And the betraying Alex Windsor wasn't the biggest heel turn that Jetta had at Wrestle Queendom.
Yeah, no.
That was a worse one.
I mean, she didn't know that it was my sandwich, but she swooped in there very quickly.
Yeah, she was...
just put them down, went to the loo and came back and it was gone.
I mean, to be fair, Jetta, if you're watching this, I would have done the same. I'm always like, if someone brings in, like, you know, sort of lunch for everyone, I'm always eyeing up, like, okay, what's the best thing that I need to get in and take before anyone else takes?
Yeah, normally I would have, like, stashed it immediately when I got in, so I was slacking, clearly.
But yeah, no, you were overwhelmed by the fact that you'd already had to stop Dan from making the grave error of picking out tuna and prawn for everyone.
Yeah, that was quite shocking in itself. I needed time to recover from that.
Exactly. Forgiven, I think. Forgiven. But Dan, what are you doing? You gotta get better at your meal deals, mate.
Wild behaviour.
Yeah. by show 200, we want a great selection of meal deals.
Yeah.
Love it. Next one is, this is the one that's going to get you the heat. I said this to Tommy as well when we recorded with him. This is the one that will get you the heat, but I need an answer, and it can't be yourself.
Right, okay.
Who has the worst dress sense?
In terms of, like, ring gear or what they're...
No, in terms of personal gear.
Oh, it's got to be, Alexis. She thinks Crocs are a good thing.
Oh, that's true. It's an easy one.
Yeah, I don't really understand it, to be honest.
No, I'm the same. I get that. Like, everyone seems to like... Well, actually, no, it's a very divisive thing on social media. Like, some people back it, and I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand it. So, I mean, there are a lot of things about Alexis Falcon backing me, let's be honest. But yeah, no, let's go with Alexis Falcon. I'll take the heat for that.
Yeah, purely the Crocs. I think that's justified though. Like,
yeah.
I think again, Crocs is sort of like a Marmite thing, right? Isn't it? You wear it, you're asking for trouble. You're asking for people to not like it.
Yeah, definitely Alexis.
Nice, I get it. I'll back that. Speaking of ring gear though, obviously Nina Samuels has the best ring gear, and nothing can top that. But if there were any in the locker room, whose ring gear would you want?
I mean, Ava always looks fantastic in everything she wears. Would I look as fantastic as her in the same ring gear? Probably not. Yeah, Ava always looks incredible. Who else? Yeah, I feel like off the top of my head, it's got to be Ava.
Yeah, it's very like glam, isn't it? It's very nice.
She's just a beautiful specimen.
Yeah, a ridiculous human being. Like, no one has the right to look like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's...
No. And she's nice as well. Like,
yeah, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, like, she shouldn't be able to have everything, but she does.
But it's funny you mentioned Alexis for the previous one, actually, because we mentioned Tommy Carl said that his like for the ring gear question, he'd like Alexis's, but like as a two-piece, like with tights rather than like as the singlet that she wears.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I sort of get that. Like, that would look quite interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But clearly not the Crocs.
I'm giving Alexis a compliment.
Yeah, no, you wear it with the Crocs to the ring as well.
Yeah, it's just disgraceful, isn't it? Really.
Just disgraceful. Next one is who cuts the best promo?
Duh.
Sorry.
I know, I feel like I shouldn't say myself.
No, sorry. Apart from Nina Samuel, we know that Nina's at the top. Because, again, it's sort of like you said with the first two, but the first two were about time, so it's kind of different. But with every other one of these, we know Nina's at the top. We're assuming that. We're like, essentially we're asking who's second for everything.
Okay.
Who cuts the second best promo?
Lizzie's a great talker.
Mm.
She chats a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Right.
She does it well.
She's a great talker, and there's a viciousness and a punchiness to everything that she says. So I'm gonna go with Lizzie.
Yeah, good shout. She's fantastic. Yeah, like just again, sort of like you said, like just very loud and brash with it though, and like really knows how to get the attention.
Yeah, for sure. Like when she speaks, you listen.
Exactly.
Which I think is a great quality to have.
Absolutely. As the leader of the Nina Samuel show, though, as the host of the Nina Samuel show, you know all about that.
If anyone's gonna know, it's me.
Yeah. The next one is this is like final couple get a little bit like offhand. These are all fairly wrestling based, but these ones get a little offhand. The next one is, who would you want by your side in the zombie apocalypse?
I mean, Livy Grace is an expert in apocalypses, right? Yeah,
exactly. Just like the show.
So, yeah, I feel I'm going to go with Livy Grace.
You pick her, though, and then she doesn't know what she doesn't have a clue. And you're like, you were on the show, what are you doing? That's why I picked you.
I feel like she should know the most about how to survive an apocalypse. Yeah. I'm going to go with Livy Grace.
Nice. And the final one, then, is who would you trust the most to plan you a surprise party?
Who would I trust? I am going to go with Ava.
Yeah?
I think Ava would show me and everyone there a good
She'd
time.
throw a good bash.
No, she knows how to party, so...
Yeah,
I'm going to go with Ava.
Love it. There we go. Who's the second best at everything with Nina Samuels?
Yes, basically. We should have maybe just started off with that.
That's what it should have been. That's what we'll rename it. Who's the second best at everything? Brilliant. Well, talking of the Nina Samuel show, we've got a final feature here. It's called What's in a Name? And it's very simple. Normally I ask people or ask wrestlers about where their ring name comes from. But for you, I'm going to sort of mix it up a bit and say to you, what does it take in your mind, in your shoot mind, talking about kayfabe Nina Samuels, what does it take to be the host of the Nina Samuel show? What do you need if you needed a replacement host for a week or something? What would that person need to have to be the host? I mean, heaven forbid, of course. Like, you know, it's cringeworthy even to think about.
Thinking of replacing me.
No, of course not. No, could never replace Nina Samuels. No. But like, you know, let's say you're sunning it up on holiday for a week and you need a replacement host for 1 week. What would it take for that person to sort of win you over? What would they need to be the host of the Nina Samuel show? What does it take to be you, essentially?
Being wonderfully entertaining.
Of course.
Looking on point. Always got to look on brand. Branding is very important.
Is key. Marketing, yeah.
Yeah. I would say being adaptable. Because I think for those who have watched all of the Nina Samuel shows, you will see there's been a big variety of guests, and expecting the unexpected and rolling with it. Because, sometimes you just don't know how people are going to respond to a question, respond to my existence, to my presence.
Exactly. People can get overwhelmed, right?
Yeah, the ability for quick changes. I think my record was doing 8 Nina Samuel shows in one day.
That's impressive.
So I might have wrestled that day as well. So yeah, quick changes, having the outfits there, ready, lined up. I think adaptability, being able to adapt to various different superstars' personalities at moment's notice, and an eagle eye as well, spotting where the latest scoop's going to be.
Yes, journalism, right? You got to have that journalistic eye for right, I can lead in on this.
Yes, and knowing where a story needs bending a little bit.
Just a little bit of twisting, just a little.
Yeah, if you just need to make for a slightly better story.
Yeah, yeah. There's plenty of newspapers that would hire Nina Samuels like that, right?
Oh, for sure. It'd be far more entertaining.
Yeah. Brilliant. We need to bring it to the page.
Yes.
Love it. Well, Nina Samuels, it's been an absolute delight having you on the show. I hope you've enjoyed it.
I have. It's been a blast.
Good. I'm very glad to hear that. That means a lot. We always end with giving our guest one final bit of promo time. Not that you need it, because you're Nina Samuels. But for anyone who has watched this and is coming to a show that you're on, be it Eve or Rise or over in Ireland or anywhere else, anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, if you go out to Japan or over to America, anywhere in the world, someone's coming to see Nina Samuels. Why is Nina Samuels going to steal the show?
Nina Samuels is going to steal the show because Nina Samuels is the show. Like, any show that Nina Samuels is on, Nina Samuels is going to make the show the Nina Samuels show. That's always the goal. Any show that Nina Samuels is on, that's the goal. Make it the Nina Samuels show and show why everyone needs more Nina.